Hey, what's up, guys? It's Chris with Liquid Creations. I've gotten a bunch of messages and emails and comments lately on social media about this 88 K5 Blazer I've been building. A lot of people want to know a lot more about it. I try to leave a little bit of info in the description and the pictures and things, but it's hard to get everything that we're doing and why we're doing it in there, so I kind of get it. Some of you guys want to know kind of how I did the suicide doors and the suspension setup, since how there's no bolt-in coilover setups for K5. So I figured I'd make a quick little video for you guys to kind of help explain some of them key points. And if there's anything that you guys want to see beyond what I show, just send me a message or let me know, and I'll try to get you as much info as possible. I don't always have a lot of time. I'm pretty busy, so it's one of the reasons I've been lagging on making new videos for the YouTube channel. I just don't really have time to get to it much, but this year coming up, I'm going to try to get to it more. I'm going to try to take on less projects and put out a little bit more content and work on some of that stuff. So if you guys want to see something, let me know. Thanks. All right, so we'll start with first things first, all the stuff on the outside here, the mods that have been done, why we did them, kind of what we did. Here on the front, we did a set of custom LED lights. They're pretty slick. Did everything blacked out. I powder coated all the trim rings around those to tie everything in with that black and the green. The grill we did custom made in shop. You can see here you've got all the geometric shapes throughout that whole thing. That should give it a super custom look. Obviously it's a one-off grill. That was one of the big things the owner absolutely loved the idea of. Here, everything has been done. Full body's been blown apart. All the paint body. This thing is about as straight as it gets. Obviously the suicide doors. A lot of time went into making these things. They're huge pain in the ass. One thing that we did that's different from a lot is we've got the striker on the door and the latch is inside the body. The reason we did that is this is running one-piece glass. So there's not a whole lot of room inside that door pocket for a latch and the popper and all that other stuff. And then the second reason is the latch itself, the popper is inside behind the kick panel, so you can access that if you need to, if there's any issues or problems. It just kind of makes things a little bit easier on the next person that ever has to service thing if something has to be done. So here for the suicide doors, you can see the hinges. These are a set of Electric Life hinges. They're made out of aluminum. They're machined out of one solid piece of billet. They're super strong. And they're one of the few that I could find that were stout enough to keep this door from moving. These doors weigh a ton. I'm sure you guys know if you've ever pulled one off. But these are really good hinges. A lot of stuff had to be done though. I had to cut a plate down. This inner plate inside here is what bolts everything together. I had to cut an access hole in the side of the body here to make sure I could get in there and access everything, bolt it up, weld it in place. But I did take and make some stops, some mechanical stops so the door doesn't come out and hit the body. You could see I had to build bracing to tie that whole thing in to make that structure super strong so there'd be no flex on that pillar. And I'll come back through and plate the outside of this before putting the panels back on to make sure everything's hidden. So you can see there we ran for the wiring. This is power window setup. There's no door locks since how we've got the poppers in there, so the only thing we have to run wires for is the power windows. And that's what that little stainless loom up top is for. We'll run the wiring up through there, run it into the doors so you can still work the windows. Like I said, the latches were put inside the body, so we don't have to worry about trying to run that extra wiring all the way back here and making that happen. All right, here's the inside. A little bit on what we're doing with the upholstery and all the custom stuff. So we've got a Alpine flat screen. It's got navigation, it's touch screen, it's got everything. To make that happen, we had to take and cut a hole where the vent used to be. Most of you guys know, these square bodies know that there was an AC vent right there. We had to build all the bracketry and mounts to put that stereo in there, but it fits in like it naturally should be. Looks like it could have been from the factory that way. To do that, we did have to gut the original air conditioning. So as you can see underneath the dash there, we've got a vintage air setup. and that allowed us to move everything over and clear the vents and still run full heat and air conditioning. And the dash itself is, the gauge bezel is the new auto meter. It's all digital. It's a super cool setup. Everything's all electronic. The screen comes up, and you can switch it between 3 different modes and choose your different gauges and all kinds of fancy stuff. As far back here, he wanted the center console. So took and built the center console out of sheet metal. As you can see, it's molded down to the side. It's got the same exact contours as the bottom. The top here will get cut out, and there'll be a drop in to store some things. That open section there in the front, we're going to tie some wood grain in, so that's just a place to hold a recessed piece of wood. All the wood grain that we're doing in here, we're going to take and we're going to do a green candy over the top of the wood, so we could tie in that green color from the outside, but still keep all the green, or the wood grain, to keep everything nice and custom and clean, and kind of make it a little warmer and more luxurious looking inside. We'll have the same thing on the dash and the door panels. A lot of those pieces that are in the doors are just plastic, so we figured it'd be a good way to tie that into the door panel and that strip on the dash, just to make everything one cohesive thought and real nice and clean. You'd see the carpet kit's been built. This is a carpet kit that I had made for it. We could have went with the factory carpet. It's just not as nice looking, I don't think. It doesn't feel as good. This whole thing's been dynamatted from front to back. But we also did 2 layers of jute, which flattened out the floor real nice. It's something a lot of people won't do. We try to make sure the floors, you don't have all the humps in there from the stampings in the floor when they make these floor pans. So they come out nice and clean and flat and feel real good, and it kills all that road noise and the sound and the heat transfer. So here's the heart of the beast. This is a brand new LS3 Connect and Cruise motor and tranny combo from Chevy. We've got an Eddie Motorsports accessory kit there on the front, keeping that black and green, and it just looks perfect together. We pulled the motor, or before we put the motor in, the whole thing had been painted. We did a satin on the top of the intake, same green as everything else. We smoothed out the firewall there to make sure everything is as clean as possible, since how we got rid of that factory AC and heat setup and put in that vintage air. We were able to clean all that up. The only thing you'll see is the hoses out here coming to it. So it's still functional. This is going to be a daily driver, so we got to have the heat and the air conditioning, and you know, we didn't go full custom on it and hide everything, but we tried to keep it as clean as possible. You could see there, this is the inner fender well has been cleaned up a bunch. This is one of our custom panels that go inside, and as you can see, they come down and they run perfectly parallel with the front of that core support, and then bolt in down at the very bottom. You know, and you can do whatever you want to insert them, screws, rivets, you know, just depends on your application, but we sell those on the website if anybody's interested in the pair. And you can see how much cleaner this engine compartment is just by having those. We tuck the wiring down in there, just keeping everything super clean. It's a real easy modification, doesn't cost a whole lot of money, but adds a ton of custom look to it and keeps everything really nice under the hood. We did a CPP Hydro Boost setup, since how this is a big cam motor. Obviously there's not going to be a ton of vacuum, so we wanted to do Hydro Boost to make sure this thing stops real good. Got a nice aluminum radiator with dual 13-inch Spall fans, which should be able to keep this thing cool all the time. No worries, no matter how hard you're pushing it. We did run brand new steering box, all brand new steering, rebuilt everything. We did a QA1 coilover setup front and rear. So we've got giant 6-piston calipers up front with big old rotors on some 20-inch American racing wheels. This whole thing has been undercoated front to back, that's color matched, which is also going to help with the sound and the heat transfer and all the noise. The back has got a Ford 9-inch. We did that Ford 9-inch with Wilwood disc brakes again, same thing, and took a QA1 coilover setup and it was for a C10 pickup because they don't make anything for the Blazer. We cut it up and we fit it to this chassis. Seems how most of the parts were pretty close. You'll be able to see some of that stuff on some of the pictures I share here at the end of this little video that show the chassis here if you haven't seen it yet. But it's custom drive shaft, custom cross members, and 4 9-inch with a 373 gear and this overdrive trans. This thing ought to scream down the highway, and posi rear end. It's got a Curry axle, so it's pretty much the best of the best front to back. It should make this thing handle like a dream and go real crazy, and it's just everything about it is legit as it could be. And the whole purpose behind this build, the owner was looking at getting a new Navigator. It's what he currently drives. And you start pricing new vehicles, and especially a luxury vehicle like a Navigator, you kind of get to the point to where you can build something like this for the same price that you could buy a new Navigator for. And the deal with this is it's going to be way cooler, go faster, stop better, handle better. And when it has 100,000 miles on it, this will have way more value than a brand new Navigator. You drive a Navigator off the lot, you're going to lose $20,000, $30,000 instantly. So hopefully this thing will just appreciate as long as it stays in good shape and everything gets taken care of. And this kind of checked all the boxes on the build that he wanted and fit exactly what he was looking for. Obviously, we've gone a little more custom than what we originally anticipated. He kind of wanted a few extra things here and there, so we've kind of been adding them in and making it happen, but all in all, it's still going to be an extremely nice daily driver. Like I say, if you guys got any questions, let me know. If you're looking for any parts, we make the throttle pedal bracket for this LS setup that bolts directly into the factory 3 holes in the firewall. So if you've already got a painted firewall, you don't have to worry about drilling any new holes or changing anything. It'll bolt right up to those original 3 holes and put in one of these CTSV style throttle pedals. We are working on a few other things. Like I mentioned before, those inner fenders, those are up for sale on the website. Right now, everything on the website is 10% off with promo code Monster Garage. I was fortunate enough to shoot an episode on the new season of Monster Garage. So, you know, that's getting ready to come out. So if everybody wants to take a look at that, that comes out on January 4th on Discovery Plus. You know, it's kind of a dream of mine, get to work with Jesse James for a week and do a little bit different stuff and you know, just add a little something to the resume. So we figured we would give a 10% discount, you know, and hopefully get some parts moved and hopefully get some people's projects rolling and help them out. If you guys got any questions, let me know. Thanks.